In the twilight of her years, the late Theodosia Okun had to stand up to defend what would have been great injustice when the mayor of Accra attempted to take her name off the national hockey pitch. But that misstep, according to President Mahama, brought him closer to the designer of Ghana's national flag. Minister of Communications Dr. Edward Omaniboama disclosed this in a tribute read on behalf of the president at the state funeral for Theodosia Okun.
Somber mood here at the State House on a rainy day as the remains of the late Theodosia Okun lie in state. And as you can see in the background, the President of the Republic of Ghana filing past the body of the late legend of our dear motherland. Now, Theodosia Okun undoubtedly has left an indelible footprint in the history of the Republic. And it is only fair that the President of the Republic of Ghana comes here to pay his final tribute. Not even the rain could stop the President from paying his respect to the woman who designed the red, gold, green and the ever-present black star, the national flag of Ghana, which was befittingly used to drape her casket on her last journey. Also in attendance were the Vice President Kwesi Arthur, the Speaker of Parliament, former President Jerry Rawlings, and some ministers of state. The Minister of Communications, reading presidential tribute on behalf of the President, said the late Theodosia Okun in her days exhibited bravery to avert what would have been grave injustice to someone who gave Ghana her national identity.
In the twilight of her years, she demonstrated a streak of genius when speaking out against an unfortunate mix-up that would have resulted in a grave injustice. She defended her place in history by kicking against efforts to rename the national hockey pitch, which had been named after her in recognition of her contribution to the sport of hockey. This courageous step earned her even more admiration by many of today's youth, who, despite having read about her contributions to national development in history books, have not encountered her yet.
Statesman Dr. K.B. Asante recalls the times they shared together as friends.
Theodosia Okun was a great Ghanaian. She was a personal friend. I knew her from the days of Achimota and also intimately when she became the wife of Mr. Okun, who was the head of the civil service and secretary to the cabinet, and worked closely with Nkrumah. She was a great support, and I took part in some of the conversations we had for the betterment of this country.
Famously associated with the national flag, she also played a key role in raising the standard of hockey as a sport in the country. This was evident in the number of sports personalities who attended the ceremony. Madam Oko's children also shared memories about their departed mother.
Whatever we wanted to pursue, no matter what anyone else thought, our mother expressed nothing but pride in our work and encouraged us to do our best. Theodosia Salome Okun was a national icon to many. To others, she was an inspiration. To us, she was all the above and our own mama.
Also present to pay their last respects were the General Secretary of the opposition New Patriotic Party, Kwabena Japan, and the National Chairman, Paul Afoko. It was probably their first sighting in public since the rumors over the death of the Upper East Regional Chairman of the party. Mr. Afoko would, however, not comment about the chaos that has rocked the party. Latif Idris, Joy News, State House.
And may her soul rest in perfect peace. Elsewhere, 2 people have been injured in a clash between a group calling itself the Invisible Forces, a self-styled security force of the New Patriotic Party, and some youth believed to be supporters of party chairman Paul Afoko at the headquarters of the party on Thursday. The incident is believed to be the latest in the ongoing turmoil within the ranks of the country's main opposition party. Joy News' Derek Sam reports a police rapid response deployment team had to be deployed to bring the situation under control.
Vehicles belonging to the Ghana Police Service were seen patrolling the area around the party's headquarters. This was after the clash between the Invisible Forces and some youth who are said to be supporters of party chairman Paul Afoko had left 2 people injured. The youth, after retreating from the headquarters, vowed to forcibly remove the Invisible Forces if they failed to vacate the premises.
That's what we will think now, if that's what they want. And we give them 24 hours. After 24 hours, anything can happen. And we are ready. We are ready.
Serious. We make what? Wallahi, we make what? See, Charlie, we don't joke. I will tell you something. Wallahi.
We want them to leave the chairman and the secretary general to do their work, because they were voted in, they weren't unpicked. They were voted by the delegates. We came a lot complaint because we are capable of attacking them ourselves. But to prevent all this, we are coming to report to the police before we storm them.
The invisible forces have also indicated they have no intentions of abandoning the headquarters. Though they wouldn't speak on camera, one of their leaders tells me they will secure the building till a solution is found to the turmoil. As was the case on Tuesday, no journalist was allowed entry. The police, numbering about 50, wielded arms and were in protective gear, ready to curb further attacks. From the NPP headquarters here in Accra, Derek Ekosam for Joy News.
The Ghana Police Service has meanwhile launched an investigation into claims made against the invisible forces. Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Police Superintendent Theodosia spoke to newsmen after the clash at the NPP headquarters here in Accra.
I wouldn't term it a clash as you called it. I would say that around 1:30, some youth, numbering about 20, 30, came here. You know, already we have some police presence here, and they tried to enter the headquarters of the party, and the police prevented them from entering. And so the police was able to disperse them. In brief, that is exactly what happened. And you know, there is also a security presence apart from the police security. The party have their own security in the premises. And as the youth were trying to enter, they also came out with the intention of warding them off. But then the police was there, so the police managed to disperse the crowd and maintain law and order. Definitely, when incidents like this happen, the police need to investigate. So we shall do it. So the police will proceed to the Nima police station to conduct the investigation, to find out, so that it can facilitate our investigation.
Now, the internal disagreement within the NPP has now officially crept into Parliament, dividing the front of the party's minority MPs. On Wednesday, the minority leader of Seche Mensah-Bonsu, in a signed letter addressed to the party's National Council, the National Executive Committee, the National Chairman and the General Secretary, expressed a united minority position, asking Paul Afoko and Kwabena Agyapong to step aside. Now, it is emerging the decision was never on the agenda of the caucus meeting, and some members are questioning the motive of their leader.
I never saw any statement that was written that was to be made public that the minority caucus, including myself, had taken a decision that we have chanced upon the police investigations, and Mrs. Afoko and Kwabena Agyapong have been implicated. And until I see that the due process has implicated him one way or the other, for me it becomes very difficult to take a position one way or the other. In other words, I would like to see the facts and the evidence pointing to their involvement.
He added that the flag bearer of the party, Nana Akufo-Addo, and ex-President John Ejekun Kufuor are working towards restoring peace within the party.
Nana Akufo-Addo is working around the clock to make sure that peace prevails. And all his statements has indicated clearly that he wants peace. And he himself said, Ajubro, let us all get together and move in the direction of peace. Similarly, President Kufuor is outside, right? He's been having consultations with other party members. And I will not suggest that he hasn't also put his foot down.
Well, former President Kufuor has cautioned members of the New Patriotic Party against what he calls acrimonious accusations in the media. This, he says, only serves to further divide their ranks and allow detractors to infiltrate. In a statement issued Thursday from Rome, the former president reiterated the need for calm and circumspection in dealing with the worrying happenings within the party following the death of its Upper East Regional Chairman, Adams Mahama. He said Adams Mahama's death should be used to unite the party and not tear it apart. One suspect is standing trial for the murder, while one other is on the run. Former President Kufuor appealed that the national investigative system that has already taken charge of the process should be allowed to work rather than the party preempting the outcome. We're taking a break. We have more stories coming up on Joy News Prime. Do stay tuned. Customers of the Agricultural Development Bank on Thursday suffered service disruptions after some workers of the bank embarked on a sit-down strike. The action in protest of recent developments at the bank, especially the refusal of the executive management to resign, was communicated to staff in a circular shared on social media. Some of the frustrated customers Joy News spoke to threatened to close their account and take their business elsewhere.
I need money, I want to come for money, and they said they are on strike. Oh, so I decided to close my account when they come back, because you can't keep my money because of somebody in negligence, you see. Right now, let's say if I need money, emergency, for maybe to help someone, and because of someone negligent, I can't get money. And let's say this is my only branch, what I will do?
Use your ATM.
ATM not work. You can check right now. You see, I came here, I went there straight. It's not working. So now what can I do?
I was told that they are not working because they are on strike.
And how is that going to affect you today?
Definitely, I can't get any money to go back to my home again.
Okay, so how long have you been saving with the ADB?
11 years now.
And this happening, how does that make you feel?
Well, I was quite disturbed.
So because what are you going to do now?
Oh, probably, I don't know. Even, I don't know. I was quite disturbed. This is my first time of hearing this news.
I know something like that, but I didn't know that up to date they are still on strike.
Okay, so what have you been told today since coming here?
I just came when I saw that the whole place locked up. Because I know that by 8:30 they should open. That's why I just came and dropped to check my balance before I go to work. But when I came, we're still on strike.
So how does that make you feel right now?
I'm not comfortable because maybe I may not have anything on me. So I know that I have money inside there. So I'll come and help myself. If I come and the whole place locked, what should I do now?
So what action will you take?
I think that the government should do something.
Okay, so right now your money is in there. You need money. What would you do?
I'll wait more and see. If they still not open, I don't have option, but I have to leave.
Now, Joy News checks have revealed not all branches complied with the strike call. Management of the bank has meanwhile accused the unionized staff of acting illegally with their strike. Executive Head of Retail Banking, Alfred Akotia, however, assures all ADB branches will be working fully tomorrow.
That is not the usual route by which the union communicates with them, and reiterated that the illegality of the call. But then we have just realized that some staff are heeding that call, and we are taking steps. First, the foremost step that we are taking is to ensure the continuity of service to our clients. We have come a long way in building this brand. We have come a long way in ensuring that, we work with customers to put ADB where we want to be. And we want to take customers along in the future plans that we have. So we don't want to have this, which we feel is a storm in a teacup, to dent that image and that brand that we have built. So we have taken some steps to ensure that we continue providing service to our clients.
You say that
Well, General Secretary of the Union of Industry, Commerce and Finance Workers, John Esiape, says Thursday's action was a spontaneous protest by the workers about some security concerns and news about the extension of the managing director's contract. He explains the workers are fully aware of the processes they have to follow if they want to embark on a strike.
Are in fear and panic, and they appear to be protesting the fact that they have been put under high security alert in terms of national security, having virtually put them on a lockdown. So, in fact, they don't know, in fact, they are afraid. Indeed, yesterday, some called to express those fears and said they wouldn't even go to work because they don't know what was going to happen. We've encouraged them that no, we have assurances nothing will happen. But it looks like they've gotten some information about the fact that workers and UNICOF will be held responsible if anything happened to the MD, because there's an allegation that the MD has been threatened. Okay, and this came to us when we held a meeting yesterday at the ministry. Before we got to the office, the whole country, in terms of the workers, appear to have had that information. So the system had been very rough. And unfortunately, that is what has led to this, what is being termed as a strike. It's not a strike.
But did you see the message that was passed on to the workers, the WhatsApp message?
No, I haven't seen the message.
Because it's suggested that it was a sit-down strike.
Whatever it is, we are not calling it a strike, because as a national union, to embark on a strike, there are laid down procedures, and I can confirm to you that we have already served notice to embark on strike in a matter between UNICOF and ADB management in relation to the wrongful termination of one of our leaders.
Now, Member of Parliament for Futu Alex Afenyo-Marking says he intends to send an urgent petition to the Speaker to summon the Finance Minister to appear before the House to answer questions on plans to put the ADB on an initial public offering. He says the image of the bank is already dented following the recent spate of issues.
ADB is wholly owned by the government, so it is a people's money. And a situation like this where workers are obstructing day-to-day activities and are not cooperating with management, it is important to know what government is also doing by way of resolving the situation. So I believe that as the people's representatives, if the finance minister come and we are able to have some interaction, perhaps we'll be able to also get the workers to also let us know their side of the story, and Parliament at that point can come to a certain conclusion. So for now, it is only expected that Mr. Speaker will admit whatever has been filed so that we can take it up from there.
But what do you make of the current development which threatens to have image crisis for the bank, its customers, and indeed the shareholders? When you have a major bank controlled by the nation, its staff says it will not work.
Well, the harm to me has already been caused. The image of the bank is very dented, and as you may know, be aware, when it comes to going to the stocks, the market is very speculative. So it is not about what is happening per se, but what is happening has also created a big problem.
In other news, the Ghana National Poultry Farmers Association is asking government to set up a fund to compensate farmers whose birds have been destroyed as part of measures to contain the bird flu scare. The fund, according to the association, should be used to pay for the birds that will be culled when outbreaks are detected. The Noguchi Memorial Institute confirmed on Wednesday tests conducted on some birds proved positive for the disease. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo has more.
Executives of the Ghana National Poultry Farmers Association have been meeting in Accra to deliberate on a number of issues, including the bird flu scare. Already, over 20,000 birds have been destroyed from farms in Achimota and Tema after samples from those farms tested positive for the disease. The poultry farmers want government to announce a package to cushion farmers whose farms have been or would be destroyed because of the presence of the disease among their poultry. They say a similar package was announced in 2007 and must be repeated.
All we are saying is that the assurance should come. Assure the public or the farming populace that if you lose your bird, you're not losing everything. Government is there to give you something. If farmers who are spending so much are not aware that if he loses his bird, somebody or an organization is going to give a package, surely we'll keep information to ourselves and trying to contain it ourselves, and that will worsen the spread and surely would actually make the situation bad for any organization to contain.
The poultry farmers are concerned the industry is likely to suffer if the situation is not contained as early as possible. They are asking members of the public not to panic, but continue to enjoy their poultry products.
I want to assure the public that what has happened is not scaring. You can eat your chicken, you don't have any problem. The virus is even afraid of heat. So if you boil your chicken very well, you will not have any problem. So this should not scare the public. They should continue to eat their chicken.
The farmers say strict hygienic measures are being implemented on farms to ensure their poultry are not affected by the disease.
We have a certain standard of biosecurity that everyone should be practicing as a routine. Sometimes in the rough and tumble of it all, some of these biosecurity practices are not upheld to the highest of standards. And so generally, if there is an outbreak, a wise manager or operator will immediately start checking his biosecurity practices and making sure that people are taking it more seriously.
For Joy News, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, Accra.
Some senior high schools in the 3 regions of the north and some parts of the Volta and Bunahafo regions face imminent closure over government's failure to release their feeding grants. Government, according to a coalition of parent-teacher associations network in the area, has only paid 50% of the third term of the 2013-2014 academic year, whilst that of the 2014-2015 academic year has not been paid at all. Heads of schools, according to the coalition, are struggling to feed students because their suppliers are no longer willing to extend credit to them.
There are over 80 senior high schools from the 3 regions in the north of the country and the northern parts of the Volta and Bunahafo regions benefiting from the National School Feeding Grants Program. Early this year, the schools had to delay their reopening dates following government's failure to release the feeding grants on time. The coalition of parent-teacher associations of schools in the area at a news conference in Tamale revealed that government only paid 50% of the third term of 2013-2014 academic year without fulfilling its obligation for the 2014-2015 academic year, a situation they say makes it difficult for the management of the schools.
Ghana has made progress in its educational system over the years through budgetary support to the sector. We are aware that between 22 and 40% of Ghana's annual budget goes to education. However, it is worthy to note that the sector is bedeviled with many challenges which needs greater attention by the government and all stakeholders for redress.
Meanwhile, the Northern Regional Chairman of the coalition, Alhaji Malik Salifu, tells Joy News it is becoming increasingly likely that parents may have to take up the feeding of the awards.
We are building a wall because there is a serious encroachment on the school lands, and if we don't protect it by walling, we are going to lose it. Now you are on the wall, and then the headmaster tells you the children have no food to eat. What do? You have to continue building the wall. We are building it because of the students. So sometimes we are forced to part some of the money anyway as loans to the schools, so that when the feeding grant comes back or are paid, they pay us back. It is a real challenge.
3 young men who allegedly raped a student of the St. Dominic Senior High School in the Ashanti region have been arrested. The 3 are also said to have robbed others of their mobile phones and provisions.
On May 21 this year, the 3, Kwejo Dramina, a trader, and 2 drivers, Ose Kwabena and Dominic Frimpong, stormed the dormitory of the school at Wadie, Ejumakese, in the Ashanti region, whilst the students were sleeping. Police say they terrorized the students with a locally manufactured pistol, subjected them to beatings and robbed them of their mobile phones and a quantity of provisions. Deputy Regional Police Commander ACP Ampofu Duku told the media one of the suspects, Kwejo Dramina, raped one of the students.
On the 21st of May 2015, at about 10:30 p.m., while the victims and her colleagues were in their dormitory sleeping, Osai Kwabena and one other at large besieged the dormitory and ordered the inmates of the dormitory, the students, at gunpoint. They had a locally made pistol in their custody. That's the pistol. And robbed them of their mobile phones, cash, and provisions, amidst threats and beatings.
Police have also arrested a former member of the community police unit for possessing a submachine gun. ACP Ampofu Duku says Kwabena Kwating, aka Matata, was accosted at Tafo by the police patrol team. A search conducted on him revealed the sophisticated gun.
An Accra Magistrate Court has adjourned the trial of 6 suspects implicated in the murder of 2 African Americans at Akwamu in the Eastern region. This is despite a confession by one of the suspects at the last hearing. The magistrate in charge explained the case was adjourned before the confession and is therefore not captured on a record. George Bernard Shaw spoke to my colleague, Kwachi Afrenia in court.
Not really that it wasn't in the court record, but the magistrate was basically saying that she did not record it because it was made after she had adjourned the case. But in any case, she did acknowledge that it did happen, but she's not going to revise her notes for that day, which is already passed. But at any rate, the confession has been captured in the police brief facts of the case, so it's not a problem for the defense. If she said that no, it was totally not the case, then we will have cause for concern. The issues of confession are quite delicate, and it's got some legal guidelines and things that goes with it. I mean, the appropriate authorities with legal counsel and with things beside them would do what they have to do in terms of getting the authenticity. What is important in a confession is basically whether it was unforced and unsolicited. How can someone just lay their lives, as you were aware, or just stick out for someone with something that they didn't do? I mean, it's not plausible, and I'm not to say this for anyone. The facts will unravel. A court is a place where evidence is examined and the court comes to a conclusion.
You're watching Joy News Prime here on Joy News on Multi TV. We have more stories coming up, but right now, after the break, we're bringing you business. It's our time for business, and Atani is here with all the details. Good evening to you, Atani.
Good evening, Israel.
You're looking radiant in your yellow. Take it away.
Thank you, Israel. The Ghana Stock Exchange has established a new market which will allow consumers to trade through banks with their treasury bills. Clients, according to the officials, can also trade on the Ghana fixed income markets through other recognized dealers. The market is scheduled to start operating by the end of next month.
The Ghana Fixed Income Market GIFM of the Stock Exchange adds to the existing markets such as the Alternative Market GAX. Although GIFM works with the usual equities, managers of the Stock Exchange say it is unique.
The ordinary Ghanaian can trade just as we do it for equities, but you are trading through a recognized dealer, either a bank, a PD or a stockbroking company. Just as you do for equities, you always will trade through a recognized dealer. In the case of equities, the recognized dealers are only stock brokerage firms. In the case of the GIFM, there are 3 recognized dealers: banks, PDs, and a primary dealer. In other words, an institution that can go to auctions organized by Bank of Ghana. Just as you can instruct your bankers to buy treasury bills on your behalf. And then, if your bank is not a PD, then it will have to wait for the PD banks to go to auction, go and buy wholesale, and then come and retail it, so that you can, if you're a bank, you can buy on behalf of your client.
The market also has an outstanding governing committee to ensure a lot more transparency in fixed income securities.
It's having a unique governing committee, bringing all the stakeholders together. The stakeholders are Bank of Ghana, the CSD, the Ghana Association of Bankers, the dealers themselves, that is the bank dealers, the stockbrokers, and then the exchange itself. So this governing committee has been carefully selected to represent the interests of all these stakeholders, so that their technical input to the running of this market will be well grounded.
All government treasury bills, notes, bonds, and Bank of Ghana money market instruments are to be admitted and traded on the GIFM.
Business consultant Ishmael Yamson says Ghana is more likely to refinance its 76 billion cedis total public debt stock should governments focus on borrowing on a long-term instead of a short-term basis. Reacting to criticisms of the debt management style of government, Ishmael Yamson proffered an effective organizational repositioning of Ghana's fiscal policy is long overdue.
We shouldn't borrow short-term to finance long-term projects. We should borrow long-term if we are investing in a long-term project. We have short-term debts, very expensive. We should go and borrow long-term money, even if it is slightly more expensive, to pay off all the short-term debt. That gives you space, because if you borrow 7 years, 10 years, you pay off all the 91 days and 180 days, very expensive T-bill rates, and 1 year, 2 years. You giving your space, yourself space, to then readjust. So then you can then manage and refocus and realign your debt profile.
One generator a day, 5 power banks a day, 14 rechargeable lamps every day, power inverters and 4 coupons every day for the next 90 days. All Tigo is asking its customers to do is to use their prepaid Tigo line, make calls, send text messages, and browse the internet in order to reach their targets for the Yen Sonkwa promotion.
Our next power bank winner. Telecom company Tigo gave away its first prize presentation on the Yen Sonkwa promotion. The promotion was launched not long ago, and customers are expected to walk away with 90 power generators for the next 90 days. 20 winners were presented various prizes from a generator, power banks, rechargeable lamps, 4 coupons, and power inverters. Head of Marketing Jesse Japon says Tigo will be rewarding a total of 140 customers every week.
You can win today because, we had to create the promo in such a way that we're able to distribute the prices quite clearly. From a percentage point of view, who hits a target much more incrementally? if the driver does that, he would win. So the driver could today win a generator, tomorrow he could win a power bank, the day after he could win a generator, because we needed to also structure it in such a way that, you know, one person does not clean up everything consistently.
The Tigo Yensonkwa promotion, he adds, is in response to customers' needs of alternative power sources to help cope with the power challenges. Customers can check their crude points or targets by dialing *456#.
That's it for business. My name is Atani. The small news with Israel. Please stay.
Figures from the Police, Motor Traffic and Transport Department indicate an increasing number of pedestrians are losing their lives on the George Walker Bush Highway. The highway, since it was opened a few years ago, has gained notoriety for the many pedestrians who have been knocked down by speeding vehicles. Officials, however, say the number of deaths have spiked to over 20 in the first quarter of 2015 compared to the 6 killed in the same period last year. My colleague Ridwan Karim Dini Osman visited the highway on Wednesday evening to speak to road users about what could be done to ensure pedestrian safety there.
Very wet Wednesday and the usual rush hour on the George Walker Bush Highway. Remember, the highway was opened to traffic in the year 2012 by the late President John Evans Atta Mills. Ever since the highway was opened to traffic, it has recorded over 50 pedestrian deaths. Statistics available at the Motor Traffic and Transport Department indicates that the first quarter of this year alone has recorded 20 pedestrian deaths as compared to 6 pedestrian deaths recorded the same period last year. We have pitched camp at Niboy Junction, a stretch which is part of the N1 highway, to talk to road users to find out why they risk their lives by using unimproved routes and the challenges they face as well.
The traffic lights, sometimes when you come you realize they are not working. So just like we crossed a moment ago, you realize it's not working. So you have to take the risk in crossing whilst vehicles are coming. So it poses a challenge, and maybe sometimes someone might cross and then get knocked down by a car. So yeah, that's also one of the challenges facing here using it.
Finally, do you know that this year alone the number of people who have been knocked down on this road has gone up? How does that make you feel?
It's worrying. It's worrying, and it will be, it would help to, help eradicate the situation if situations like the traffic lights can be improved, and the accessible routes would be made a lot easier for people to cross the road. I also believe that with a lot more education to the drivers to slow down when they are approaching towards these areas, and things like that will help minimize the situations. Just like you can see here, people are crossing the road as a big truck is coming. A lot of these things need to be, educated. A lot of education needs to be to help eradicate this situation.
What are some of the challenges you go through whilst using this road?
As you can see, the traffic light isn't, it's not working, so we're really suffering. It's like the cars don't want to stop, and there's miscommunication between the pedestrians and the drivers.
The road hasn't been constructed to serve pedestrians properly. When we take a cue from the Achimota of Ankoro, you realize that it's pedestrian friendly as compared to this one. For instance, the current pedestrian bridges that we have don't have ramps. So what are we talking about? So I think that this road is not designed to be pedestrian friendly. Meanwhile, the population of people who cross this road are more than that of Achimota to Ofanko. So I think that even when they want to construct new bridges, it should be more pedestrian friendly than the current one that we have.
There's no way. For instance, the overhead is far away. It's almost about 300 meters. And here is the bus stop. So I assume if I get down for that place, I have to walk through to this place. It's bad. And from here to Holes, closer to Nyamicha Junction. Are you getting me? So the best thing is they will do one flyover here, and then the Las Palmas another one, so that we can have a piece of one. Look at how the car is going. You can't stop them, and we knew also what to cross.
So I say, and so just as you heard from the lady, she says that they use the unapproved route because they have no other alternative.
I think if you don't take care, car can knock you down. So the best thing should be done, like if they get us a bridge here, like it will help people to cross the road very fast, and then being knocked down too can be prevented.
From the road user perspective, authorities have not shown enough commitment as far as reducing carnage on the N1 highway is concerned. They believe that a lot of road infrastructural challenges remain unresolved. The police visibility officers, on the other hand, admit recklessness on the highway remains a thorny issue they are grappling with. But they believe that with concerted efforts, they would be able to stem the tide of road accidents on the highway. Reporting for Joy News, Grade 1, Karim Dini Osman, Accra.
For the bulletin, my name is Israel. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good evening.
This is Joy News Prime.